Hello there gorgeous gamers, and welcome back to Pure Play TV, and we've got a review for the strange yet satisfying Pokemon with Guns game, Palworld. It really is an oddity, but one I found myself strangely enjoying. Let's have a look. For nearly 30 years, Pokemon has ruled the roost when it comes to the monster catching and battling genre. The formula has barely changed over the decades, with Game Freak and Nintendo mostly playing it safe. Palworld, on the other hand, takes the basics and throws it through the mixer along with a few other games and comes out with a mishmash that I honestly thought was going to be a giant pile of crap. It's not perfect by any means, and it's definitely lacking the polish of the games it liberally borrows from, but within Palworld you'll find a fairly decent survival/base building game, all with the colourful cutesiness of Pokemon, along with the dark implications that come from what is basically enslaving animals. And that's something at the forefront of Palworld. Slavery, or if you want to call it another word, unpaid work. Because to get ahead, you need to get out into the wild, catch yourself some pals, and then build your base. Slowly but surely, as you build your base up and level it up by doing tasks, you'll be able to deploy more of your pal creatures to work the various industries of your base. Whether that's farming, logging, mining, and so on, they exist to serve your needs. You can't go into battle with just sticks and stones, you need weapons. To get weapons you need resources, and to get resources you need tools, and you're not going to do all the hard work by yourself, not when there are some ready and willing animals capable of doing the hard work for you. It's the dark side of the Pokemon universe that Nintendo will never touch, but Palworld makes it a central theme to its core gameplay loop. Of course, if you wanted to, you could do everything yourself, but it would take so much longer and wouldn't be nearly as much fun to play. Okay, I understand now how the pyramids were built, and just about every other capitalist venture. But those were cases of humans being mistreated, and surely a video game wouldn't allow you to capture a human and force it into a life of servitude, or would it? Yes, Palworld even lets you capture humans, which is not easy, mind you, but should you catch a human, you can treat them like any other creature in the game, which is to say you can have them working your base, sleeping out under the stars on a bed of straw, working until they can't anymore. Or you can butcher them and sell their parts. It is playfully censored, mind you. You won't actually see body parts getting chopped up, but yeah, it's still grim. But just like reality, it's highly lucrative. Or you can put them in your pocket and have them join you in your battles, while you feed them scraps every now and then to stave off a hungry death. I'm not going to go too much into the morality of the game, because come on, we've all been playing GTA for 25 years, we've all done our fair share of mass murder and more, but I don't think I've ever come across a game that is so on the nose with it all. It is all done with a smatter of dark humour, my favourite kind, so I appreciate the silliness behind it, but if you're going to be playing this with kids, it's worth bearing in mind that you may have to be prepared for some tough questions from the inquisitive minds of babes. I played Palworld with my 7-year-old son, Charlie, and he had more than a few questions, such as, is it okay to make the pals work for us? Can we capture a human? Does that happen in real life? In fact, it was the grim little bugger who suggested we catch a human and make him work at our base. I think I learned a little bit more about the kid thanks to Palworld, and what I learned is that Charlie should never be in a position of power. The kid is ruthless. He also beats me until I buy him new games. Send help, please. But as a serious word to parents, I wouldn't go clutching the pearl necklace too fast. It is mostly fine for younger players, it's just there's a lot of reading involved, so you may have to lend your educated mind from time to time, and then there are the themes throughout the game that they may or may not understand. But there's certainly no gore, no naughty words, or anything untoward. It may be sold as Pokemon with guns, but it's better than Haribo because everyone can enjoy it, even the diabetics. Base building is a big part of Palworld, but so is exploration and battling. While Palworld clearly apes Pokemon, it doesn't follow its gameplay structure. Instead, you've got a large open world, more akin to the recent Zelda games, in more ways than one. From the presentation of its shrines to its overworld map, the inspiration is worn clear as day. In this open world, you're free to do just about whatever you want. In the early hours of the game, you are guided through the process of building a base, the different components to your base, and how to catch pals and level up. After that though, it's up to you. There are no mainline quests to follow or anything along those lines. You've got a large map with towers dotted throughout, and these towers act as the game's bosses, kind of like gym battles against really strong opponents. The idea is you grind your levels, find a tower, beat the bad guy, get your rewards, and then do it all again, rinse and repeat. There are also bosses scattered throughout the map in the form of large versions of regular pals, and these can range from easy to beat to downright infuriating. The action is also a world apart from your traditional Pokemon. While you do capture creatures and build a party and level them up, it's much more passive. During combat, you can summon your creatures to help you out. You can even ride some of them to get around quicker, but combat is more Zelda in the sense that you'll be equipping bows, bladed weapons, and eventually guns, something little Linky boy has yet to discover, but give him time. Meanwhile, your pals will roam the battleground, doling out attacks as they see fit, though you do have some control over when and what they attack, but it's a lot looser and allows the action to sit at the forefront, which I didn't mind at all. Yes, it's a weird game, and yes, having an army of creatures, and humans if you're so inclined, working until they drop dead, you have to remember to feed the buggers, is also weird. But it's fun, weird fun, and I enjoyed it. I would spend a couple of in-game days stocking up ammo and supplies before setting out on an exploratory expedition in hope of finding a boss battle or a dungeon to gain large amounts of XP so I could unlock more technology and make my base a little better, or give me the edge in battle with better weapons. It's a loop that has worked for many games, and while Palworld doesn't really do anything to add a new rotation to that loop, it's odd enough that it genuinely feels like it doesn't need to. It gets along quite well with its Wish.com Pokemon gimmick. It is not all great though. The game is clearly in a rough state, hence it's been released as an early access game. It's janky, it doesn't always look great, and sometimes it doesn't work all that well either. I had a couple of crashes and more than a few moments where either I or one of my enslaved beasts got stuck in a rock or something else. It's in dire need of a proper touch-up and more than a spit polish in the technical department, but for all of its faults, I still really like it. It's got me excited about the survival genre more than any other game has managed to do, and given the choice between this and Pokemon, I'd have to say, for my money, Palworld wins. It's not perfect, at times it's a bit crap, but there's a good game here, it just desperately needs a bit more TLC to bring it up to standards. And that is the end of this review. Bear in mind, this game is not yet in its final form. What game is? So we may come back and revisit this one in the future. But the score awarded in this video is for how the game was when it released in January of 2024. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, do us a solid and hit the like and subscribe buttons below and give the bell icon a ding so you're notified whenever we've got new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.